If you've been following the news, you know things are incredibly tense in the Middle East. Today, we want to cut through some of the noise and really focus on a major new development. Israel's, well, its brand new military plan for Gaza.
Yeah, this is a big one. It's not just, tweaking tactics. This feels like a really significant strategic shift. The potential consequences could be pretty far-reaching.
Exactly. We're looking at this source, Fast Facts, Israel's new Gaza strategy, dated May 5th, 2025. What really jumps out is the scale, right? This plan, Operation Gideon's Chariot. It
Mm.
says the aim is dismantling Hamas, getting the hostages back. But it really looks like Israel is planning to, well, stick around in Gaza
Absolutely. A
indefinitely.
key point, the indefinite timeline. It strongly suggests, a fundamental change from maybe more limited operations we saw before. It implies a real long-term commitment to control within Gaza.
And the mobilization is huge, tens of thousands of reservists being called up. But this long-term control, what does that actually look like on the ground for the people there? The plan talks about new security corridors, specifically mentions the Morag Corridor. Sounds like it's going to, what, carve Gaza up
Yeah.
into separate areas?
Precisely. That seems to be the idea. These corridors would likely be, controlled military zones. It would severely restrict movement, chopping up the Gaza Strip, which is already so densely populated, raises big questions about, well, the future territorial integrity of Gaza, if it even remains one cohesive place.
Which, okay, that leads directly to this other really concerning part, the potential relocation, moving a large number of Gaza's 2.3 million residents southward. We could be talking about massive displacement here.
Indeed. If that happens on a large scale, the logistical challenges, the humanitarian challenges, they'd be immense. Historically, these kinds of large-scale population movements in conflict zones, they have devastating consequences. Ensuring safety, well-being, it would be paramount, but just incredibly difficult to achieve.
And the humanitarian situation, it was already described as critical, wasn't it? The UN was already ringing alarm bells. Reports mentioned, what, over 52,000 Palestinian deaths since March. So how does intensifying military action affect getting aid in?
That's a critical concern, absolutely. Heightened military operations, these new security zones, they almost inevitably disrupt aid flows. It just makes it harder, potentially much harder, for aid organizations to reach people in need. It could make a dire situation even
And
worse.
I have to talk about the hostages. Those 59 individuals still held by Hamas. You see the families, human rights groups. They're terrified, understandably, that more intense fighting puts those hostages in even greater danger.
It's an incredibly precarious situation for them. The calculus for getting them released safely, it becomes so much more complex when there are large-scale military operations happening all around them. Raises really tough questions about the best way to secure their freedom without, further endangering their lives.
Okay, so politically, Prime Minister Netanyahu is framing this as like a necessary aggressive strategy to pressure Hamas into surrendering.
That's the public justification, yes. But the timing. It's interesting, isn't it? Just before President Trump is expected to visit the region.
Right.
It adds another layer. It's hard not to see a potential link there between the military moves and the upcoming diplomacy.
So is this push maybe meant to create some kind of leverage for those talks? The whole world is definitely watching this very close.
Absolutely. The international community will be scrutinizing Operation Gideon's Chariot, how it's implemented, the impact on civilians, on aid, and what it means for de-escalation or any long-term resolution. And the whole idea of an indefinite occupation, that itself is likely to face significant international pushback.
Okay, so let's try to sum this up. Operation Gideon's Chariot. It's a major escalation. Aims to dismantle Hamas, free hostages, but it seems to mean an indefinite Israeli presence, potential large-scale population movement south, plus serious worries about aid and the safety of those hostages still inside. And all this is happening right as a key diplomatic visit is on the horizon.
That captures it well. In essence, this strategy feels like a very high-stakes gamble, with really profound implications for Gaza's future, for the whole region's dynamics, and of course for the fate of those people being held captive.
It leaves you thinking. Considering those stated goals, dismantling Hamas, freeing hostages, but weighing them against all these potential consequences we've discussed, what are the real long-term implications here? For regional stability, yes, but maybe most urgently. What does this path mean for actually getting those hostages home safely? Definitely ought to consider.